Hey guys, this is Suzanne Tidkemeier, formerly of No Longer Quivering, now of me, myself, and I. I haven't posted in a while. I've been having some issues here with equipment, which I double checked on my microphone this morning, turned everything way up, and it says it's working. If you can't hear me, let me know. I'm going to try to speak up louder. I can breathe again, so maybe I'll be able to speak at a normal voice. Um, I've been busy. I've had a couple of projects that I'm working on right now. So I haven't been able to do lives. And I also discovered that one of the problems that I'm having with the internet here is that we're having the electricity go on and off, on and off, on and off, and a whole lot of flickering. When that happens, apparently it drops our internet speed to nothing. It makes things not work. It makes my videos very stuttery. So I'm going to go with this pre-taping instead of doing a live, which is a little strange for me. I'm used to the live. I'm used to the interaction with all you guys. I miss you guys. But between the electricity and not breathing and all that and the new project, well, not a new project, a project I've been working on even more. But the project I want to talk about a little bit today because it's kind of like when worlds collide. Why would I say that? Well, I've been doing a lot of research on narcissism lately. I have a really close friend here, and she used to live here in Costa Rica. She now lives back in the States, who asked me to collaborate with her on a thing on narcissism. It's a good friend of mine. I'm going to call her Marie. I'm going to call her husband Joe. I met them, oh, maybe about 2 years ago here when they first arrived in Costa Rica. I told my husband right away, I said, I don't really know why, but I do not like or trust Joe. He can be the most smiling, nice guy in the world. He was, but he was just setting off my internal lost in space robot that was just flapping its arms and screeching and going, warning, warning, Dr. Smith. I could not, for the life of me, figure it out. Now, my friend Marie was a typical evangelical wife and mother, had a whole pile of kids, fawned all over her husband. But what happened over the course of a year? She realized living here how personally powerful she was. She realized that all the things he'd been putting her down for years about were not true, that she was more than just a provider of food and a provider of babies. She was a lot more. So she went from quiverful, evangelical, to just completely out there. And when she started to loosen up a bit, her and I became friends instead of me just because at first I was like, no, you sell that Young Living oil, which I happen to be real allergic to. I can't be around you. We got over that. We started to be friends, and she's an awesome person, an awesome artist, good friend of mine. Like I said, we're working on this book together. I've been doing this series. Been doing a ton of research on narcissism. I know a little bit about it. I've been trained about it a few times. I have encountered narcissistic people in my life, and a couple of members of my family that have some narcissistic tendencies. I think we all do. We have to have some narcissism, or we would not get out of bed in the morning. We wouldn't do anything. We would just be blobs. So obviously, everybody has some self pride and some narcissism going on, but usually it's a useful amount. It's not a harmful amount. Well, this week we've been watching yet again without a moral compass flap around and make all kinds of excuses. And the more reading I've been doing, the more convinced I am that there is some overlap here. So I want to point out a few things today about narcissists and narcissism in your life and see if you think it fits. Maybe. We're waiting for her to make her big announcement as to what her defense will be to the Tati Westbrook lawsuit. Who knows at this point? Who knows? It's just all very interesting. I'm sitting back and watching this and kind of just like snickering because I think that she is buying herself a lot of trouble. She can't keep her mouth shut. She can't cooperate with her lawyer. All she can do is spin and say nasty things about everybody. And I am sorry, but that doesn't work for me. If somebody was suing me, I would be quiet. There have been times when I've had people send me cease and desist. I have had times when I was working at Pathos, when I've had to deal with people threatening to sue me, you've never heard me gripe and moan and cry about any of them because most of them were not even real. So they were dealt with by my legal representatives, and we just don't talk about that stuff because there's really no reason to do so. She needs to stop talking about it, do what her lawyer says, and if it were me, I would admit that I had an internet addiction, and I would go into treatment somewhere. That may be the only way she gets out of this mess is to say sorry and negotiate an ending. That's what I would do. But that's me, and I'm old. Okay, I have to start with a quote today by Richard Rohr. If we do not transform our pain, we will most assuredly transmit it, it's true, usually to those closest to us, our family, our neighbors, our coworkers, and most invariably, the most vulnerable, our children. I think a lot of narcissists start out with that. It's the pain is at the center and it radiates out. They use it to go on everyone. Okay. Somebody with a narcissistic personality disorder usually will demonstrate grandiosity. They have a total lack of empathy for anyone, for others, and a constant need for admiration. They often believe that they're superstars, special, and only special people can understand them. The rest of us little useless folks in their eyes, have to look up at them and admire them all the time. Or they flip out. They can't handle any criticism. They can't even handle the useful type of criticism. Even if you give them a criticism that is wrapped in a solution, they flip out still. Okay. And it never works to take a positive approach to them. They cannot accept any fair criticism, any help, any constructive ideas, none of that. If it doesn't come from them, out of their brain, they have no use for it, which is really sad because we can all use constructive criticism. I know I can. I've certainly screwed up enough in my lifetime, and I've had to say I'm sorry like 20 trillion times, like the rest of us do, like normal peoples. Okay, narcissistic personality disorder. If you have 5 or more of these that I'm going to describe, you rate on the scale of unhealthy narcissism. Number 1, when you exaggerate your own importance. Number 2, when you're preoccupied with fantasies of success, power, beauty, transformation, intelligence, and the ideal romance. Number 3, when you believe that you are special and can only be understood by others, special people or institutions. Number 4, you require constant attention and admiration from others. Can't take any kind of criticisms, any kind of anything that's not fawning love. Number 5, you have unreasonable expectations of favorable treatment from others. You think that you should always be treated favorably. Number 6, you take advantage of others to reach your own goal. Number 7, disregards the feelings of others. When you have no empathy for what other people are going through, you fall in that group. Number 8, is often envious of others and falsely believes that others are envious of them. That is a really big red flag right there. Number 9, constantly showing arrogant behaviors and attitudes, having no humility. So of those 9, if you have 5 of those going on, chances are you're a covert, communal, or malignant narcissist. I mean, it never hurts to do self-reflection and decide where you line up and then be conscious of those things. Because like I said, a little narcissism is healthy, a lot is extremely unhealthy. And the more addicted to this a narcissist is, the deeper they go, the more special they think they are, the more likely they are to become even more disordered, displaying the core of pathological narcissism or the triple E. E number one, explanation, doing whatever it takes to feel special, regardless of the cost to those around them or the truth. The second E, entitlement, acting as if the world owes them and should bend to their will every single time. The third E is empathy impairment, becoming so fixated on the need to feel special that other people's feelings cease to matter or exist in any shape or fashion. And then I just wanted to say, when you lean that heavily on the approval of others, it's just simply not healthy. And a lot of these people have what's going on, a duper's delight. Whatever a narcissistic person feels when they're lying, apparently they get an emotional charge out of it. They get a little rush of endorphins. So they're not likely to stop lying. They're likely to actually escalate that because they are getting some kind of biological payoff from that. And their biggest downfall is that they think they're smarter than everyone else. And because they think they're smarter than everyone else, they're more likely to walk into a trap, trip over their own feet, show exactly who and what they are. So that's my little thing for today. I just wanted to remind everybody what narcissism looks like, because we're dealing without a moral center, and we don't know what's going to happen with her. And I'm not saying she's a narcissist. I'm asking you to evaluate whether you think she's a narcissist based upon what narcissism actually looks like. If you don't think so, fine. But I think we all have our moments, like I said. The trick is to be self-aware and to realize when you need to listen to others, take advice, get healing, go into treatment. And I think most of us can benefit from treatment at times. I know I have certainly had my share of treatments where I've realized, hey, my inner self is out of alignment. I need to take care of this. I need to get healthy. There's times when I've done that. I've just walked through a really tough time here with the pandemic. I've been dealing really well with that until recently. I started to feel a little panicky and weird again. So I've had to stop and take a break. I haven't been online much, very little. And it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful not to have to worry about the various factions and fighting. It's wonderful. And at the same time, don't get dragged into some of the drama I see going on. I know everybody's fighting right now and everybody's feeling antsy. I think that's a lot of it because I'm seeing not only people like my friend Marie and her husband Joe split up in the midst of this with narcissistic behaviors that were going on by Joe. He was gaslighting Marie. I'm seeing all these marriages around me break up. So many. And I think a lot of it is that we're under such strain right now. Many people are under financial strain, but most of us are under some kind of emotional strain right now with this whole pandemic. This is important not to fall apart. It's important not to make, these suicide threats or later say, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, even when you're clearly not fine. Admit when you're not fine and go get treatment. I think that's the only way we're ever going to get past this pandemic, this time we're going through. This is just really hard on everyone. It was hard on me last week because we had Thanksgiving and I couldn't go to my usual place. I couldn't eat out. I had to cook and stay home, and that is not me. I prefer to have, like everybody, to have gatherings with people that you love, hang out with them. I haven't seen my family for almost a year. I'm sorry. And that's another stressor going on. I would like to go back to the States and see them, but quite frankly, I am afraid of flying right now in the midst of the pandemic. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we should all treat each other kindly right now, and we should all take extra care to know when we do need psychological help. And get that help. There's no shame in admitting it. There's no shame in admitting you're struggling. And we all need each other in this time, I think. Okay, I can't wait till the electric starts straightening out here so that I can go live again. I'm waiting for that because this is just not as much fun, waiting for having to do this with zero feedback. I've never been one to ask people to subscribe or hit the button, ring the bell, all that. If you like to do that, I would love it. But if you don't feel the need to do that, this I'm doing is not about hits. It's not about money. It's not about anything but trying to reach and help people. I mean, we're all going through such a rough time right now. That was my whole motivation within LQ. If I can help others, I'm happy with that. And soon, like I said, I'm moving over to talking about Costa Rica. Right now is not a good time because we are having some major stuff going on here in Costa Rica. Everybody is so impoverished. They're trying their damnedest to raise money any way they can, and sometimes it's not the most ethical things you've been seeing. Plus, we're full of tourists now from the U.S., and to the point where I'm not going back to Tamarindo Beach except first thing in the morning because it's turned into a zoo there. It has turned into a zoo with so many people. I was yesterday, I was at Grande, and there was hardly anybody, which is kind of nice. But it's living in a tourist town is not so nice during tourist season. It seems like as soon as we reopened to the US, everybody showed up. And I understand that. I just don't understand. I understand the desire to travel. I just don't understand the desire to travel during a pandemic and thinking that it won't hurt you. It's here, it's everywhere in the world. I think we're about to see a second lockdown between the US and here eventually. As rates are climbing here, don't come. Don't come until our rates come down and your rates come down. I think once Joe Biden takes office, there will be a nationwide lockdown, and I think it'll trigger one here as well. I kind of hope not because it'll trigger an even worse economic situation here, but who knows? Okay, I'm rambling too much and going too many different places with this. Y'all have a real good day. Try to treat each other kindly, especially yourself. Treat yourself kindly. That's the most important thing in this time is just try to cut yourself some slack. Okay, see you later.